powerful dynamic twins that this is top 3.
Also, I decided to dress like a Barbie doll today. We have confessions of a non-Barbie. And it's time for Yes, No. I'm here with Jordan Wagner and, of course, Kenda. Thank you for being here. Now, we're going to explain to her how this works, and I think you're going to get it because
she seems smart.
Yeah, you're a thinker, analytical, an author. Basically, we're going to ask you questions, and you can either answer yes or no. But you can't explain.
It sounds easy, but let me tell you, not a lot of people get through this without saying, trying to explain themselves
but it
or
was
maybes.
Oh, you got me worried
exactly,
now.
But I think you can do this. I mean, you seem smarter than most of the people we've had. Let's just say
that. I'm prepared. Okay.
Okay. Let's just jump right into it. Have you ever peed on the side of the road?
No.
Have you ever been stood up on a date?
Yes.
Have you ever lived out of a backpack?
Yes.
Have you ever traveled to Africa?
No.
Have you ever stood someone up on a date?
Ooh.
No.
Have you ever wrote a book?
Yes.
That's easy. Are you married?
No.
Seen someone?
No.
Have you seen anybody this year?
Yes.
Oh, we're getting personal.
Oh.
Did you break up with him? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
No.
That was a
yes, no, like at the same time.
That was a.
Okay.
That was
yes, yon, no.
Maybe that was the whole,
yon.
that had the whole
That was a
stood
yon.
up part of it. Have
She's
you ever
invented
been
a whole new
to
word.
India?
Yes.
Okay, we got a lot more
This is
questions
interesting.
to ask Kenda, especially this yon word that she's just made up. We got a lot to find out. We're going to find out more on the couch. Stay with us. It's top 3.
Hey everyone, it's time for the interview portion of our show. I'm Larissa here with Preston, and our guest of the day is Kenda Wilson. She comes all the way out from Oklahoma, and she's an author, she's a speaker, she even teaches at Oklahoma State University. And she has written this book called Confessions of a Non-Barbie, and I am definitely a non-Barbie, so I am really interested to hear what she has to say. Thanks for joining us, Kenda.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, so they kind of grilled you a little bit about dating and kind of crazy stuff. So for the record, you are not dating anybody.
Single for right now.
I'm single.
Just for now.
Single.
I'm single right now.
You're not sure if you broke up or it was a mutual breakup with the last person that you kind of went on a date with.
It was a long story, let's just say that, but I'm single.
Okay,
so
she's single.
Yeah.
Now, this book is got such an intriguing title. How did you get inspired? Confessions of a Non-Barbie.
Well, inspired's a good word for it, but let me just say this. Have you ever gone through a situation where you thought, why didn't someone warn me about this? What am I going through?
Every day.
That was exactly what happened to me. I hit college, I started, getting in relationships, and I hit these crazy emotions, or I would go through a relationship and Prince Charming wasn't Prince Charming, and so I started thinking, what's happening? Why didn't someone tell me about this? Why didn't someone warn me? And so I started journaling, writing down those things. This is what this is what I've learned. If I could tell girls anywhere something, this is what I would tell them. So it kind of started out that way, journaling and writing experiences. Then later, when I started working with youth, I started noticing, hey, wait a minute, those girls, they're going through the exact same thing. It's like a light bulb moment. Hello, why don't you take what you've learned and actually help someone with it? So that's kind of the process.
So what have you learned through just writing this book on relationships and?
So much stuff.
Why don't we start?
I'm very interested in this.
I think the most intriguing thing about this is that you've got these really clever titles, and I can kind of see your sense of humor, and hopefully everyone at home will kind of get her sense of humor as we go through this interview, because it's not just a boring oh, this is what you should do and you shouldn't do. It's really about you just kind of sharing, like you said, it's like a running diary of what's going on in your head. And so I like the fact that you start off by saying being single is not a disease, and explain that a little bit.
Okay, well that chapter is titled "Being Single is Not a Disease, but People Still Try to Cure You." And one thing, it doesn't matter where you grew up, people always have an opinion about you being single. Either slow down, hurry up. I'm from the Midwest. People are like, where's your man? When are we going to get grandchildren? What's going on? And so what I wanted to say is, you may not have found the right guy for you yet. There's nothing wrong with you. He may not have shown up. You can either be miserable waiting for the right guy, you can get with the wrong guy, or you can just enjoy your life as a single girl, live it up while you're waiting for the right guy. You'll be a more interesting person, you'll have a better time,
Yeah.
You won't look all
So you're
miserable.
basically saying if you're a girl, don't just sit at home all day. Go do something, make yourself interesting, so you can meet somebody.
You'll learn so much more about yourself. Some girls go from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they never figure out, this is who I am. If you figure out who you are, it's a lot easier to say, okay, that guy over there, that guy fits with who I am. That guy over there, no, stay away from that guy.
Now, we're talking about girls, but I think you mentioned, it's like, is this something that is important for guys to hear as well?
It is. It is. No, for real, because we can't just sit at home too. We got to go out and make ourselves interesting, do different things so we can be interesting, or we're not interesting. So, pretty much.
No, some of the stuff is universal, and that's something that really surprised me when this came out, because obviously Confessions of a Non-Barbie, it is kind of targeted at women, but I had guys read it, and they would say, I actually connected with some of this stuff. Some things like rejection. If you get dumped, it doesn't matter who you are, it kind of stings. No, it doesn't feel good. So rejection, we all don't feel, girls don't always feel beautiful. I'm guessing guys don't always wake up every morning and feel absolutely handsome and perfect.
We have to do some push-ups. That's what we do when we get up. We do about 50 of them.
Yeah.
We got to do that, get some confidence.
Yeah. Well, this is one thing that I noticed. It's like, you have this other thing that he says, if our friendship is like a movie, it'd be a drama. Because a lot of times, there's a lot of drama in our lives. Like, explain that a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm sure we've all heard the term frenemies by now. And one thing I notice is that the people you're surrounded with, not just random people everywhere, but especially those people you bring in close to you, they completely affect who you think you are. And as women, we tend to kind of look around and ask people's opinion to find out if we're good enough or if we belong. And so if we can surround ourselves with those friendships and those close friends that say, hey girl, don't let them get you down, don't let this situation get you down, you're beautiful. It's going to help, it's going to kind of pick you up.
Well, because how does that play into affecting our dating life as well?
Oh, because you need girls around you that will not only support you, but tell you, call you on the carpet and say, okay girl, that guy is not good for you. You can do better, he needs to go.
So I think I read that you had something for bad boys, is that true?
All girls got something for bad boy. Let me tell you now.
I have to admit, I never went for the bad boy.
Are you sure?
So, but I think I read that you actually went through a bad boy.
I hope my parents aren't listening right now.
Help me out too,
This
'cause
book
I'm trying
says
to-
confessions.
It is confessions. You know what? I wanted this to be so real that when it came out, it was embarrassing to me. And it was, and it is. So yes, I did say, it's called I Always Go for the Bad Boys.
Yeah.
There's something kind of exciting about the bad boy, that adventure, that charisma. And you do have to kind of watch it, because you kind of want to, there's something weird about girls. We want to go for that, but then we want to change him. Isn't that
Preach.
It's like, oh, I want to be with that. But if I tweak him just a little bit and change it. And so sometimes we tend to go for guys based on who we think we can change him into instead of who he is. And I think guys should be supporting me on that, because I don't think you guys like girls trying to change you any
No, I
more
think it was
than,
the same way. We can't do that for you guys. It ain't gonna work. So
It doesn't work.
no.
Well,
I have tried it. It does not work.
And there is this kind of epidemic about, girls going for like the wrong guys. And you kind of allude to this. And another favorite quote of mine is like you say, I'm a 7-pound bass in a vegetarian restaurant. I think those are kind of tied together. Explain that a little bit.
Okay, 7-pound bass in a vegetarian restaurant. A good catch, but it's just not appreciated where it is. So the thing is sometimes we look around, like I said earlier, we look around to get validation to see if we're okay. And sometimes if we're not being asked out, or if the guy we think is cute isn't liking us as well, we try to change. And we say, okay, there must be something wrong with me. And the thing I want to tell girls is, be who you are. Find out who you are, enjoy being you, even if no one around you appreciates it, or even if no one this week asks you out. Keep being you. You'll get to a place where someone appreciates you. Hold on.
Now, let me ask you this, because I know you do a lot of speaking, and you've had this book and a lot of these principles. What has the reaction been from girls coming up to you?
Okay, one thing over and over that they say is, they're like, we can't believe you wrote some of this stuff in here. And they say, it feels like you read my journal. They say it gives them hope, but more than that, I think we like just to know that we're not alone, that there's nothing wrong with us. And so I wanted to not only have tips in here, but just to let girls know, you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you. I know you don't feel beautiful today maybe, or I know you feel this crazy emotion after a breakup. It's okay. You're normal. There's nothing wrong with you.
Because do you think as Christians we have this tendency to like want this like perfect answer for like dating?
Yeah.
Can.
Yeah. We look for that picture. I mean, look at all the Hollywood movies.
Yep.
We think that picture is supposed to translate to real life, and when it doesn't, we think, what just happened? What am I doing?
Yeah.
So.
Same way for guys, so you're on point.
Yeah. Now, what does this mean? Don't buy a fake Fendi.
Oh, okay. Don't buy a fake Fendi. Well, you've seen the knockoff.
Yeah, like
knockoff
Fendi, like the designer, the purse.
Yeah.
You're talking about that.
I found one time I was going to buy it, and I noticed the label said like fondue instead of Fendi. And the thing is, it looks similar.
Went to the alley for that? What'd you say that?
That was overseas. Yeah, that
Fondue.
was,
Yeah, fondue.
they'd spelled the name wrong, but it looked similar.
Gucci, not Gucci.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay.
It looks similar, but you know what? It just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. It doesn't hold up over time. And sometimes we kind of want to rush things. If we don't have the right guy in our life, or even the right friends in our life, we tend to say, okay, we can't find this anywhere, but you'll work. You look close enough. And what I wanted to tell girls in that is, you know what? God does have a great guy for you. God does have great friends for you. Don't settle for anything less than that. Don't settle for the fake Fendi.
That's good.
It's not
That's
worth
good.
it. You're worth more than that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you make a really good point about not settling and going for the real deal. Now, kind of to expand on that, like, how do we really, in a practical way, keep ourselves for the genuine goods?
Well, it's kind of hard because, like you said, sometimes we look around and we say we don't see what we're looking for. How long are we supposed to wait? And like I mentioned before, having those friends in your life and surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether it's the music we listen to or the things we put in our mind. Let me tell you something, a chick flick is good, but my girls and I have been known to get on a chick flick marathon, and by the end of it, it just messes with your mind. After Jane Austen movie marathon sometimes, it'll just mess with your mind. So if you're gonna wait for the right guy, fill yourself with positive things. What am I looking for? What are the promises God has for me?
Now, have you had your heart broken?
Oh, yeah. You have no idea. Yes, of course, yes.
And so how, I mean, because that's a big element of it. You talk about the dating and the wishing for like Prince Charming, but then you do have your heart broken. How do you deal with that?
Well, and that's why I wanted to put this in there, because sometimes we think if a relationship ends and the guy's not the right guy for us, we'll just feel happy about it because we're moving on to something else. How you deal with that is surrounding yourself with good people, finding out some other stuff in your life, get some mentors in your life that'll put, and also chocolate.
Chocolate?
Ooh, I heard
Chocolate.
that does do something,
Yes.
endorphins or something. I heard some things.
Sometimes you just gotta have a big old chocolate milkshake. So.
I got enough chocolate on me, so I don't got to mess with it.
Now, it sounds like you've learned a lot about yourself, and I think with other people as, been kind of going through your own diary journal. What are some other things that I think you've learned that our audience out there you think would benefit from?
Okay, well, one thing is that what makes you beautiful is not just, I've talked to so many girls that think beautiful is just a hair color and just a height or just a figure. What makes you beautiful is that certain special crazy something, those weird quirks that a lot of times we try to hide. So those are the things that actually make us beautiful. And so don't look at all these different crazy things that the world tells you and all these different movies.
You mean we
or
don't
media.
have to be Barbie?
No, that's not what makes you beautiful. That's not the only formula is blonde hair, blue-eyed Barbie. That's not the only thing that's beautiful. So stick with who you are. Don't change that just because someone else doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Just be your crazy self. That's what makes you beautiful.
You preach it, sister.
That's right.
Telling you, hey, that's good.
Now, what advice would you give Preston here?
Yeah, because I ain't gonna say nothing. You two verse me, I ain't saying a word, so you can go ahead.
What do guys need to know about women that you think will be
Chivalry.
helpful?
I know you guys love that. Chivalry.
We do love chivalry. We love a guy who's honest. Not
We
necessarily.
can't. So if you tell me what do I look like in this dress, I got to be like, well.
Okay, we like a guy we can trust.
Okay.
And I would say just keep in mind that we're all human, so we're wondering things too, and we're insecure too. So it's communication. Talk about this
all
some of
right.
the stuff.
Honesty and communication. I'm learning.
Well, I know that there's a lot of like fun little topics in this book that you guys are going to get a kick. I mean, there's so much more stuff that I can't even cover, but I just wanted to share it with the audience. I'll take vanilla Pepsi and 2 scoops of rejection. That's just crazy. I'm sure you're curious as to what that means. And guys are like gangrene. Actually, I do want to know about that before we leave. Guys are like gangrene?
Oh, okay. Every guy flips to that one. That's actually a good one. And it's talking about after a breakup, after a serious relationship, how you still want to be friends with the person. And so like gangrene. Sometimes you just gotta cut it off to heal. You gotta move on, get away from the situation. Quit driving around his house, hiding in the bushes, stalking him.
Wow.
You gotta just cut it off and let it go. So it's good. It's not saying anything bad about guys. Don't you think so?
Yeah, you gotta break it off.
Gotta break it off. Cut it off. Gotta move on.
Ice break it.
Well, we really appreciate you being here. And where can people find out more about your book and how to have a healthier self-image about themselves?
They can go on my website, kendawilson.com.
That's great. We're going to have a lot more top 3 discussion, and we're going to debate whether guys are like gangrene or not. And hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something to help your dating life and your own personal view of yourself.
Hey, what's your name?
I'm Liz Walker.
So I heard you read this book. Did you read the book?
I did, and I was up to like 3 reading it until my roommates like told me to turn off the light.
My wife really loves Kendall Wilson's book, Confessions of a Non-Barbie, and keeps it by her bedside at night.
I actually had trouble putting it down. It was so addicting to read it, finishing it the night I got it. I gave it to my friend Justine. I read it twice. And less than 2 hours later, my friend Aubrey asked for it. And I got the book yesterday, and I stayed up all night reading it in my hotel room, and I've never gotten it back since. So it's just a really great book, and I encourage all girls to read it. So.
Being single is not a disease, but people still try to cure you. People always have an opinion about you being single. You know, either slow down, hurry up. I'm from the Midwest. People are like, you know, where's your man? When are we going to get grandchildren? What's going on? And so what I wanted to say is you may not have found the right guy for you yet. There's nothing wrong with you. He may not have shown up. You can either be miserable waiting for the right guy, you can get with the wrong guy, or you can just enjoy your life as a single girl, live it up. While you're waiting for the right guy, you'll be a more interesting person, you'll have a better time.
My favorite part was the 5 things you should know about Prince Charming, and number 1 was Prince Charming farts a lot. It was hilarious. I loved it. It was amazing. It's easy read, and anyone will enjoy it, even if you don't think you know you're old enough or young enough or anything like that. It's just great. I was up to like 3 reading it until my roommates like told me to turn off the light.
So it's not too bad, huh?
No, it's like really good.
So my wife really loves Kendall Wilson's book, Confessions of a Non-Barbie, and keeps it by her bedside at night and reads just a little bit at a time, and says that that's exactly how she feels, and she's really been able to connect through it. So thank you, Kendall.
I read this book, and it's like, it was awesome. I was really, really interested in it. I read it twice. So, yeah.
And I'm going to read it next.
She's going to read it next. We give it to her.
Yeah. We run a refuge youth center right now in Phoenix. I'm so excited because she showed me her book and I looked through it. Do a whole group discussion with a group of our girls who don't know the first thing about anything, and this book is a great way, I think, to speak some life into young girls of all ages. I love the book. I started reading it, got it on Tuesday, started reading it yesterday, and I will be done with it today.
An amazing story, and it like brought happiness to me. So I read Kendall's book like a lot of times, and I think she's an amazing author, and she's a really great person. I love her book. So you should read it. And I ended up finishing it the night I got it. It was one of the funniest books that I've ever read that actually goes with my situation and everything that I've gone through. And I really, really enjoyed it. My friends, they loved it too, so I think you guys should read it. We actually had trouble putting it down. I'm 15 years old,
reading it. It's such an easy read. It's not like having to read your school briefs or anything like that. Required reading. It's such fun to read.
Have you ever wrote a book?
Yes.
Called Confessions of a Non-Barbie.
Have you ever gone through a situation where you thought, why didn't someone warn me about this? I started, getting in relationships, and I hit these crazy emotions, or I would go through a relationship and Prince Charming wasn't Prince Charming, and so I started thinking, what's happening? Why didn't someone tell me about this? Why didn't someone warn me? And so I started journaling, writing down those things. This is what I've learned. If I could tell girls anywhere something, this is what I would tell them.